Okay, I've finally pulled out the turtlenecks, so it's a good time. Good time all around. I'm not going to apologize for not having updated or put up a video in a while, because I can't control life, so I kind of feel weird apologizing for not being able to put up videos, but it's been a while, so welcome. We are on day 4 of unwashed hair, but we are thriving because it's officially starting to feel like fall, and I got a cute little Halloween puppy mug, which I'm loving right now. And it matches my sweater, it matches my new blanket. I'm a walking pumpkin at this point, but that's what I'm all about. But the reason I have gathered you all here today, besides gushing about orange, I've done it, kids. I've done it. I have read Mistborn. English is like my almost native language, so I still have trouble with it, so there's that. But I have finally done it. I've read them all. And if you don't believe me, annotated. Okay? So, before we start this, what is bound to be chaos, I have given each of these books 5 stars. I am both emotionally destroyed and filled with warmth that I have read this series, and I have read about these characters, and I know what happens to my little babies. But this book, this series is a wild one, y'all. It really, really is. So we're going to talk about it. There are going to be some spoilers, so if you haven't read all of the books and you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest, as sad as I am to say, that you get out now. Okay? If you don't care about spoilers, even if you haven't read the books, I respect that. That's a choice. And welcome. I'm already thinking about what's happened. So the first book we're going to talk about is Book 1. Book 1 is Final Empire. It is, so the broad plot of this is that there's a main character named Vin, and she is like recruited by this crew leader named Kelsier to overthrow the government. That's like the SparkNotes version of it. They have been ruled for about 1,000 years by this tyrant known as the Lord Ruler, and he has implemented a system where there's a very large class gap. So the nobility is all the way up here, and then the peasant class, which is known as the ska, is all the way down here. So it's like there's this huge discrepancy in classes. Is that how you say that? Yeah. So there's like no middle class, there's no upper middle, there's no like lower. It's just like nobility, peasants. And then there's this huge... Anyway, the main character is a ska, and she is a Mistborn. So Mistborn is very rare people in this world, where they can ingest metals. My cat is pawing at the door. Yes, sir. Welcome. Oh, and now he's out. Okay, goodbye. So, in this world, there are what is called allomancers, and they ingest metals, and then they can burn them and gain some abilities. Usually, if you're born with the gift, you can only ingest one metal. So, for example, you can ingest tin and you get enhanced senses. You can ingest pewter, and then you get like superhuman strength and balance, and you can like Naruto run everywhere. And for Mistborns, they can ingest every metal. So they can have near godlike abilities compared to normal mistings. So Vin is a Mistborn, unbeknownst to her. So she gets recruited by Kelsier into this plot to overthrow the government, and then she learns about herself. She learns that she's a Mistborn, and the power that she's been using this whole time, which she called her luck, is actually an elementic ability. And now she's learning how to be a Mistborn and how to be part of a crew and how to be a high-class thief, I guess you can say. And it's hard for her because she has been alone for years. Her parents died, her brother abandoned her, and she was the only woman in an all-male crew. So she's gotten this inherent trait of just anxiousness and being really jumpy, especially around people she doesn't know. She's very suspicious. But as the book progresses, like even as the series progresses, she has such growth as a character. She turns into this very jumpy, anxious, like naive little girl into like a fierce warrior by the end of the series. And it's very interesting to see how even like the littlest conversations, the littlest moments impact her as a character and impact her growth. And while she's with the crew, like plotting to overthrow their ruler, she gets to know what it is to be a part of a family again. And, you know, even though she does have these moments of doubt and these moments of anxiousness and should I back out? Maybe I should run. I don't know if this is for me. This is like too much. And she does have those moments a lot, but she never chooses to run. She always chooses to stay and like see how. Her reasoning was that she see how things go. But, you know, you always get this sense of like she wants to be a part of something big. And she wants to be known to people. She wants to be remembered. And during this first book, she's has a key role in the plan. She needs to play the part of a noblewoman. So she goes undercover incognito as a noblewoman and goes to balls, which is like a big thing here. And, you know, she gets to meet some of the elite noble families, and most notably she meets Elend Venture, which is he's the son of one of the highest families in this world. And they kind of they have a little thing, and even her interactions with this strange boy it kind of shapes her farther, like shapes her development farther, and it helps complete her character by the end of the series. And you do get a sense that she's only like 16 or 7. She's 16 when the book starts. So I know y'all have been 16 before. You know. Sometimes we don't think that much. And you really get that sense of her in here. She doesn't really think things through fully, like to the full extent that an adult would. There is a little bit of insta love in here, a little bit, like that much. But you know, she's 16. She's in this new world. She's surrounded by this fancy stuff, and here comes this fancy, handsome boy giving her attention. She's swooned a little bit, but it doesn't subtract away from her character growth and development, even in this first book. So when the penultimate confrontation happens and Kelsier dies at the hand of the Lord Ruler, her growth and her personality is heightened. It's advanced so quickly because now she thinks that she needs to be the one to do all of it. She needs to overthrow the government. She needs to kill the Lord Ruler. She needs to do this. She needs to do that. And she takes it upon herself to become Kelsier's role in the group. And coming from the naive 16-year-old little girl, and now she's still 16, but now she's a warrior. She's a fierce leader. And all these little points, all these little plot points that lead up to her becoming this person, and unfortunately, you know, she has to see her mentor die very tragically. It kind of like sparks her into throwing all her doubt away and just being like, you know what, this is my purpose, this is what I'm set to do, I'm going to do it. And she does it. By the end of this book, she kills the Lord Ruler. And she does it with the help of, you know, her crew, obviously, but at the end of the day, she's the one who puts the spear through his heart and kills him. It's such a growth from the scared little suspicious girl from the first few chapters, and then you have this fierce woman who just killed the tyrant that's been ruling for 1,000 years. And when this book ends, you're like, wait, how is this going to get better? How is she going to grow farther? And then you get to the second book. So the second book takes a little bit of a turn in the tone of it. To my friends, I was saying that main character gets very annoying in here because now she's in a relationship with Elend from the first book, and now that they've overruled the government, they're trying to implement a new democracy with Elend as the figurehead and then Vin as his like general and everything. And everybody knows about her now. Everybody knows that she slayed the Lord Ruler, that she's this vicious Mistborn, and now that Elend is in charge, he has an air of power around him because of Vin. And there is some political instability that takes a main point in this book, because some people in this world want the Lord Ruler back because it gave them stability, it gave them predictability, and it gave them a role to play. And now that there is no set government, they're kind of like, wait, what do I do? Please tell me what to do. And even though they're trying to implement this parliament or this democracy or this like free thinking kind of government, some people just don't accept it. So there is a lot of political instability, there's a lot of rioting and just famine, starvation. That takes like a real major point in this book, and scene antagonist almost. And now it's come to the point where Elend is overthrown from his own government, because now you have two armies coming to siege their city. And there's one person who wants to be like, you know, the new Lord Ruler, like the new king of everything. And Elend is very worried because they won't give the people democracy. They'll just rule over them like the Lord Ruler did. And there's a new character introduced in here. His name is Zane. And I swear, the point, because Zane and Vin have like a weird thing that happens. I was not a fan, okay? Not a fan. Because this girl goes through all of this. She goes through all of this. Sees her mentor die in front of her. has her boyfriend overthrown from the government he's trying to implement in this new world. And here comes this random boy saying like, oh, he's only using you as a weapon. Why do you want to be his knife? Blah, 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 blah. And then she starts thinking, this girl actually starts thinking, oh, wait, what if he is using me like this? Or what if this? Or wait, does he really love me? I sat there reading that stuff and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And it's just that I don't like how her personality changed in this book, like for a big chunk of it actually, and it made her seem very whiny and very like attention seeking, and everybody just needed to pay attention to her or she felt like she wasn't worthy of anything. And it's a complete antithesis of her in the first book and her in the last book. And even when she was reassured, she still was like, oh, well, what if he's just using me for this? Or what if he never really loved me? Or what if I'm just a weapon to use and then he's gonna like discard me? Vin. So that was a main point of just like, no, absolutely not. But then like, as the book progresses, you kind of get over that. She gets over that hump, and thank fucking God that she does, because that was hard to read. Like, I was literally rolling my eyes like, Vin, are you actually serious right now? Girl, really? And then by the end of it, like, she gets over all of her doubts that's burned from nowhere apparently, and her and Elend get married. It was very cute. It was and then there's like this new power that surrounds them now that they're a married couple. It's like everybody knew they were a couple before, but some people sneered down at her and were like, oh, you're just his mistress, you're just his like lover, you're not really anything important, you're just his attack dog, basically. So then when they get married, now she has this, them as a couple, them together have this air of pure power, I guess you could say. Okay. So another main point of this book is that Vin thinks that the mists are changing. So like every night before, in the first book, every night there would be mists, and you know, they were benign, they wouldn't do anything to anybody, they would just kind of be there, and then by the morning they'd go. So now the mists are changing, and it's been noticeable since they killed the Lord Ruler, and now the mists are starting to kill people. So like, if people wander into the mists at night, there is a chance that they will die. And that's like this new element in this as well, because they have an army, so they need to move. They need to go to all these different places and locations, and they have to move at night. So like, if mists are killing people, what do they do now? Huh? So now Vin is starting to hear like this thumping, like this, and she thinks it's coming from the mists, and she thinks that the mists are kind of leading her to the source of the Lord Ruler's power, which is called the Well of Ascension. And she is on this journey behind the Well of Ascension to kind of figure out what the hell is happening with the mists, with the world, with the universe, because everything's going to shit. The world is ending, and they think it's because that Vin killed the Lord Ruler. Like, he was the stabilizer in everything, and now that he died, everything that's been building for 1,000 years is just kind of coming to fruition, and it's gonna explode. So now they're on the way to the Well of Ascension to find the hidden power that the Lord Ruler took. And when they get there, there's like this creepy shadowy thing, and there's like a pool, and the shadowy thing that they walked past entering the cave, the well, attacks Elend, essentially killing him. And Vin goes into the pool to take the power, and she realizes that she can't save Elend, so she just lets him die. Leaves him to die, sorry. And she like takes the power and realizes that she can't do that. So she just lets the power free. Unbeknownst to her, that power is actually going to be the end of the world. And she done fucked up. Dude. And then she gets this like little bead of metal and gives it to Elend for him to swallow, because she thinks it's going to save him. And it does. And it turns him into a Mistborn. Which is like, because up to this point we thought that Mistborns were born. They weren't made. So that now that Mistborns can be essentially made from regular people, that's an element that finds its way into the third book, which, queen of segues here, Hero of Ages. So this book took me a little bit longer to read, just because a lot of the chapters in here were from a character's perspective, where he was trying to find his purpose again in life through studying religion, which is what he did before the world went to shit. And he lost someone that he loved in the second book, and now he's just kind of lost. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what his purpose is, because now that he's studying all these religions, he's finding inaccuracies in every single one of them. Like, none of their ideologies match. Like, for instance, one religion has this one rule, but then is later contradicted as the text goes on. You know what I mean? So he can't find a religion that's just 100% logical and balanced and pure. And that takes up a decent chunk of this book. I wasn't bored per se, but I did find myself like skimming some of his parts a little bit. His name is Sazed, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But he's been a character since the very first book. He's a Terraceman Keeper, which is kind of like this lost religion, and these people were massacred by the Lord Ruler when he first took power, and he's probably one of the last keepers that there is. So he feels like an immense pressure on, you know, sorting out all of these religions and finding out which one is, you know, the right one that's going to help him find himself again and find his purpose and kind of give his life meaning again. Meanwhile, Vin and Elend are dealing with the army still, the war. Elend is, you know, newly Mistborn. He's trying to figure out all his powers, and Vin notices that his powers are so much stronger than hers, even though she's been a Mistborn for two or 3 years now, and his powers are just like infinitely stronger than hers. And she starts to wonder, like, because he was given part of the Well of Ascension's power when he ingested the metal, that's part of a reason why he's so strong. And as this book progresses, it takes a lot of like throwaway comments from the first book. Like things that you really didn't pay attention to, or maybe you did, maybe you pay attention to everything. I don't really. So like in this book, okay, so we have some new elements introduced in this one. So we have now the bad guy power from the Well of Ascension. His name is Ruin, and that's what he's doing. He's ruining the world. And a major plot point for me in this book is that we learn about Hemology, which is like the art of making so Hemology is used to make the Inquisitors and the Kolos and the Kandra, which are like 3 baddies. The Kandra are just a race that can impersonate anyone if they have their bones to digest. So, you know, if they find some dead body on the street, they can literally just swallow their bones and become that person. And the Kolos are like this freaky things. They're like gargantuan, like blue-skinned, red-eyed monsters, basically. And like they can grow to up to 12 feet tall. And like as they grow, their skin kind of just like stretches out with them. And like to the point where like you can see rips and like they bleed. And they're very like single-minded. And then the Inquisitors, they're freaky AF. And so they have like spikes driven in their eyes, and so you just see like the circles of like the and yeah, so Hemology is used to make them. And a big part of this is so my camera was dying, so I just had to charge for a little bit, but I'm back. I was talking about the Inquisitors and how they're like, oh my nose is so itchy. Hello? Hello? Oh, heart attack. Okay. But I was talking about the Inquisitors and how like they're these weird, like they have spikes through their brains and they just have like the circle. Anyway, so like the Lord Ruler used the Inquisitors to act as his mini army, like his policing force. Assassins, basically, I think. And they're just like, ugh. So, Hemology is a big thing in this book. Main part is because all it takes is a little spike of metal to pierce someone's skin, and then Ruin can kind of like worm his way into your brain and kind of manipulate you. And why that's so important is because throughout the entire series up until this point, Vin has had an earring that her mom gave her. Like an earring that's been like low-key mentioned throughout the whole thing, but it's metal. So, and it was piercing her ear nearly the entire time. So then Ruin basically drops the fucking bomb that he's been like low-key controlling her actions since she was a kid because of this earring. And it's like, what? And it's like, it was weird because now when he brought it up, I was like, wait, but there were instances where she wasn't wearing it, or like it was stolen from her or something. And there were instances where like she had the earring on, and then like her inner thoughts were like, I don't understand why I would care about this earring. It's just like a really dingy little thing, blah blah. But she would still keep it on. And like that was Ruin. He was convincing her to keep on the earring to control her. And when I found that out, I was like, what? Like, that little, I dropped my plushie. That little insignificant little thing just, and then like you start to think, wait, she was influenced this whole time. What thoughts were hers? What thoughts were Ruin's? What actions were her own? And it's like, and then it, like after I read that part, I was just like mouth gaping for like at least 10 minutes, because like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? So to wrap up this video, because I think it's getting fairly long, the series ends with nearly everybody dying. They die. Ellen dies. Vin dies. And then Vin, in like a ultimate character growth realization to badassery, she fights 13 Inquisitors. 13 of them. Kelsier could not even kill one, bro. She's fighting 13. And she does it though. She kills them all in like this epic battle with like, it was so beautifully written and dramatic, and you felt like you were in it with her. And then she dies, and she like ascends to a god, basically. And she has a conversation with Ruin, and it's basically her and Ruin kind of warring at each other and kind of influencing the battle below. But, you know, Ruin is so much older and stronger than Vin is, so Vin's like hold on people is so weak, but she does try. And then she tries to like save the world by getting rid of the mists, getting rid of the volcanoes, getting rid of like the perpetual gloom, and she just kind of makes the world worse. So Ruin basically kills Ellen. He manipulates it in a way where, you know, he gets his head chopped off, and then Vin basically just says, you killed my only reason left to live, so I'm done. Like, this is my all. And so she basically like tried to overshadow Ruin, or like push his influence out, and by doing so she killed herself basically. And when she died, the world just kind of collapsed in on itself. And then we get this other fucking plot twist thing where it's like, okay, so both of our heroes are dead. Who the hell is the hero of ages? Hello? Who is going to, you know, save all of this? And Sazed the whole time. The Keeper. Because then they go back to this prophecy where it was like, he will be rejected by his own people, or like something like that. Hold on, let me find out. He will carry the fate of the world on his arms, and it's like not on his shoulders, like how it usually was. And it's because Terraceman Keepers, they carry like these metal like bracers on their arms and hands, and it can be used to store like the knowledge of the world basically. And I never really gave much thought to that prophecy, and then when he was kind of piecing it all together, he was like, wait, they didn't say he would carry the world on the shoulders, it said arms. And it's like he would be cast out by his own people, he would be rejected, and it was just like, how did I not see it? How? So I'm going to just read a little bit of it. It was said, the hero would be rejected of his own people, yet he would save them. Not a warrior, though he would fight. Not born a king, but would become one anyway. And I was just like, oh, how? And then it says here, the words of the prophecy were very precise. They say that the hero will bear the future of the world on his arms. The hero will have the power to save the world, but he will also have the power to destroy it. So, this whole time, everybody thought it was Vin. And then there was like an instance where I thought it was Elend. But then I never thought it would be Sazed. Like, how? Contemplating life. But yeah, so that was my very long-winded, probably keeping out a lot of pieces of the puzzle, because I can't remember everything. I'm sorry, but I really tried my best to kind of give you the main elements of what happened. This series is phenomenal. If you're looking for a new fantasy series to delve into, please check this out. This was beautifully written, paced. It was just beautiful. Every page kept you on the edge of your seat, and it comes to a very satisfying conclusion. Even though our main characters die, it just every string is tied. There's no loose ends. Everything comes together very organically and well-rounded. And I like the fact that he was not afraid to kill off main characters, and it adds so much depth to the story and emotion, and it gives you I can't words are hard. And it's just a beautiful series, and I loved every second of it. I'm sad it's over. Now I can't seem to focus on reading anything. And I'm looking forward to literally everything that Brandon Sanderson writes. It's going to be an automatic buy for me. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I tend to ramble and probably say things multiple times, but I so very much enjoyed reading this series, and if any of you are hesitant about picking it up or like need a little shove in order to pick it up, please do so. You will not be disappointed. At least I don't think so. And it's a ride, and just stick with it, because you will love it. And that's the end of my rambling. I will take my Halloween mug, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. That's good.